the DJ.
Well, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, the #1 sports information program in America, the Breakfast Bankroll, with your host, the sports broker, Jeff Dawson.
Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your Breakfast Bankroll with Julian Edlow from DraftKings Sportsbook. Our weekly trip down Route 3 to I-93 to Beantown, as we like to say, to talk some local sports, to talk with Julian through the eyes of the DraftKings Sportsbook. See what's going on tonight, this weekend. Talk some Patriots, Celtics, you name it, we got it. Shout out to our new sponsor, WagerWire, in partnership. If you haven't downloaded the app, please go to Google, go to where you buy, should I say download your apps. It's free. Download it. Sync all your sports books with it. Look at all the additional promos that you can get from a DraftKings, FanDuel, Prize Picks, etc. there. Big things coming with us and WagerWire throughout the rest of this month and year and forward. So without further ado, actually, let me quick shout out to the men behind the glass, Joe Shea, Evan Lewis, Olu, Cade, Bennett. Let's have a day, guys. So without further ado, let's bring him in, the one and only Mr. Julian Edlow.
How we doing, Jeff?
We're doing better than the Patriots, Julian. How about yourself?
Yeah, I think we all are.
You know, we usually don't start here, but why not? I think I saw the number 72-3 the last two games.
Yep.
Listen, I'm not.
Here's a fun one.
Coach.
The last three games, the Patriots offense has 16 points. The opposing defenses have scored 21 points. So the Patriots are getting outscored by opposing defenses over the last three games. No need to put your offense on the field if you want to beat the Patriots. They'll just need your defense to outscore the offense.
You know, Jules, we sat here last week. I think the week before, we talked about getting off to a quick start, or at least a decent start. And if my memory serves me correct, Philly came in opening day 16-0. Dolphins come in the next week 17-3. We thank God, beat the Jets in a real scrum, and then we go to Dallas, and I think it was 21-0.
Is it thank God? Because I would kind of rather lose that game and be in the Caleb Williams hub.
Well, we're still there. And then, of course, you know, the massacre last week. I don't think they've scored. Maybe they scored a field goal in the Jets game in the first quarter, but they haven't scored a touchdown in the first quarter, correct?
I think that's right. I think the Pharaoh Brown touchdown, which is their only touchdown in the last three games, came in the second quarter, I believe.
It is so ugly, and their defense is banged up now. You know, the loss of Christian Gonzalez, one of their bright spots, Judon. The list is endless. They bring back J.C. Jackson. Just from a fan's perspective, Jules, give us your thoughts on the Patriots, just where they are before we break down the Vegas game.
Yeah, they're dreadful. Everybody wants to talk about Mac Jones and how bad he has been. And if you're asking me my opinion, I don't think Mac Jones is a good NFL quarterback. I think that he was a great high school quarterback that was extremely capable in college of playing behind all NFL offensive linemen and having his receivers at times were Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs. So, like, it was impossible for him to fail in that situation. Is he a good NFL quarterback? Maybe. I don't think he is, but maybe because he had a good rookie season, and since then everything's been working against him. The Patricia and Judge offense last year didn't work, and this year they don't have capable players. They don't have an offensive line, and they don't have good receivers. So it's really hard to tell if he could be that guy from his rookie year or if he's just not good. And that goes on the GM first and then the coach. Bill's still an okay coach, I think. Okay, not elite like he once was. Things have changed over the years and he hasn't fully adjusted to it, but he's a okay coach. He's probably better than half the guys in the league because there's a lot of bad coaching. As a GM, he's awful. And so that's where I think they need to make a move. He can't draft well. His free agent signings, you look at them, several of them, and the one that everybody wants to highlight right now is, Jacoby Myers, same money, and you give it to a guy with a bum knee and Juju Smith-Schuster, bring him in externally, and you're getting nothing from him. Whereas Myers was really good here. Now he's being really good in Vegas, and see him this week. So I just think the roster management is like 1 out of 10, and the coaching is extremely poor, and that leaves the players in a very tough place to succeed, although they don't have great players either. So they got to figure out who's got to go, who can stay. And again, like if you're going to look for a franchise, let's say they get the 4th pick and, Caleb Williams goes, the lineman from Penn State goes, and Marvin Harrison goes. And Drake May is sitting there at 4, the UNC quarterback that's drawing Josh Allen, Justin Herbert comparisons. I'd be interested in taking that player, but I don't want to start him until there's an appropriate combination of offensive linemen and pass catchers that he can succeed with, so that you don't just throw him into the situation Mac Jones is in. So that's where I'm at. We'll see where things we'll see where things go. But putting your fan hat on, it's hard to have much interest in the team right now. And I know sharp money, professional money hits them week after week. But at some point you gotta lay off.
I think Bill, during the 2 decades with Brady, was most known for attention of detail. There was nothing this guy, he was playing chess while everyone was playing checkers. The famous win the opening toss, we're going to decline because we're going to score in the last 2 minutes of the first half. We're going to get the ball and score in the first drive of the second half. They got criticized a few years ago for not spending money, and then what they do, as soon as free agency opened, they overspent for Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith, Kendrick Bourne. You talked about the addition this year of Juju. They add Devontae Parker. Nothing's working. Their one staple on offense, Ramondre Stevenson, can't get going because of the offensive line and the fact that they're down 14, 17 points in the first quarter. It's almost like, Jules, you just got to blow this whole thing up and start over. And the locals, 98.5, talking about Mac's got a friendly contract with $2.3 million. He's not the answer, but he would make a hell of a backup for next year. But it's almost like, Jules, get what you can get for him in the offseason and move on. I mean, I know that's a lot I just threw at you, but what do they do, Julian?
It's a tough question because there's so much. So it's hard to say, here's what you do and quick fix. I'd be fine parting ways with Belichick as both coach and GM, if that helped to get a play caller like a Ben Johnson who's going to get a job, who's running the Lions offense. Something like that. Like, it's going to happen at some point. It could have probably happened easier over the last few years, but now you're in this situation. Like, what are you going to go win 3 games this year and come back and win 4 next year and then say this isn't working out? It just feels like kind of stalling. So I think a plan needs to be put in place of who's going to run the team, identify who that is, because I don't think Belichick's going to fix the GM problem because he's already dug into this hole and proven kind of incapable with a lot of these decisions. So Yeah, I think this. I think the way to simplify this is the first thing you need to address is a new GM who you trust, and then that person can go problem by problem and fix things. But like if I'm ranking them, it's O line, it's wide receivers, then maybe quarterback. I don't, but you got to start with those top two and find the right person to do that job.
His stubbornness. I mean, we saw last year, the year before, Jacoby Myers was a viable option, and I think you hit the nail right on the head. If it's not Bill's guy, he's not going to resign you. He'll find a reason why. I mean, not that he's going to tell us over the mic with his his stumbling and bumbling. But I mean, there were red flags with Juju after last year with Kansas City. And any thoughts on? Do you know or have heard any reason why the thought of we're taking Juju, the same exact contract, why he leaned Juju, brought fresh face over Jacoby Myers? Any idea why?
I have no idea, but Belichick did address it the other day, more than he would normally address it by saying that they did make Jacoby Myers a priority and they did attempt to sign him. But obviously you didn't try too hard. If Myers has since come out and said, I would have stayed in New England, and he has the same contract Juju has, but wearing another uniform. So it just more so question, like Myers was working in New England. So why risk it on a guy like Juju who you lost the bet? Like whatever your bet, that high ceiling you're chasing on Juju, which is a very unpatriot-like signing, you missed, you lost, you didn't hit the window that you were looking for on that contract. So no, I have no idea. But again, this is why the decision making is the major question in terms of roster management, and that's why you're asking me where to start. It's there. Start with the GM.
Last year in Vegas had the game won, a late rally by Vegas. Last play of the game, we dumped the ball off. I think we got like 30 yards, and then for some reason we decided to pitch it back, and Max Crosby basically intercepts the lateral, steps on Mac, and runs for a touchdown. I thought
Chandler
last
Jones,
week was
actually.
a must game. Chandler Jones, yes, not Max. Chandler Jones, excuse me.
Who is now who knows what, but
do you the opening line initially was 1.5. I think I've seen 3s now with Vegas beating Green Bay. Do you give us a shot this Sunday?
They have a shot because of how last year ended and because Bill knows McDaniels well, and I don't think McDaniels is good. What's the total on this game, actually? If I bet this game, it would probably be under because Patriots aren't scoring. The Raiders aren't scoring. They're both going to want to try and run the ball. I haven't even looked at the total for this game. I would lean under. I think the Patriots have a shot just because the Raiders aren't anything special and the familiarity. But I'm not betting the game. Can't bring myself to do that with these two teams, particularly the Patriots right now.
The true number was 42. It's down to 41.5. Vegas favored by 3.
If you said here's $100, I'm making you bet something in this game, I would probably bet under.
I mean, the Patriots, are averaging less than 17 points a game, so they would have to get into that 20, 23 spot, which, again, in a dome on the turf, who knows at this point? I mean, we could talk for hours here, obviously, just about these guys. So let's move on. Let's go to college. Our team, the game of the week is Washington and Oregon. Talked to a lot of people. Their power rankings has this one at 1. It opened at Washington at 2, went to 1.5. Now it's up to 3. I was on Sports Map Radio yesterday. We talked to Kenny White. We talked to Paul Stone. Split there. One has Oregon, one has Washington. My love affair for Washington. 67.5, for the game. I said first 1 to 35 wins this game. What's your gut telling you there, Jules?
Yeah, I played Washington in this game. I laid 2.5, and I played the money line at -140. I like the spot, and I like them being at home. So Washington won this game 37-34 on the road last year, so maybe a little bit of a revenge spot for Oregon, but I home field means a lot to me in college football. Neither of both of these teams, I think we can be pretty sure are very good because of how they've been beating up on people, but they haven't been significantly tested outside of one spot, and that was Oregon's only decently tough road game, and that was week 2. They won by 8 and covered, but it was a gross one. I had Texas Tech +7 in that game. Texas Tech was down 1, driving with the ball with a chance to win. Turnover goes the other way. That's how Oregon covers. Texas Tech was up double digits in that game at times. So I think Oregon, when actually tested, as dominant as they've been at times, when actually tested on the road, has shown some flaws. So now you're going to go to Washington. I expect to see some of those flaws, and I expect Washington to be a little more buttoned up at home. If you're asking me which quarterback I trust more, I trust Penix over Nix. So all that kind of combined, I see a lot of small edges on the Washington side, and you put them all together, and that's enough for me to lay under a field goal.
Go back. Let me see. We're week 6 of the NFL, so week 7, basically the college football. Last week, Alabama saved their season with a tough win in Texas A&M over Jimbo Fisher. Notre Dame, after their loss at home, last play of the game to Ohio State, goes to Duke, muscles one in, and Louisville just boat rushes them, I think, in the second half there. Now they face USC this week. And I think the big shocker for most people, and I was on the right side of this one, was Oklahoma last week against Texas. Now Oklahoma, people are talking into the Final Four. Texas takes a step back. Thoughts on Oklahoma moving forward and your top 4 or 5 as we see it now?
Yeah, given the rest of the Big 12, I don't know exactly where you fade Oklahoma. There's probably going to be a spot. I don't think they're that team that's good enough to run the table and get in. Top 5, Michigan, Georgia, FSU has to be in there, although I would be careful with them along the way. And then the other spot is where it gets interesting, but I don't know how it's going to shake out. I just hope the Pac-12 doesn't beat itself up so much because they're so good that they don't get a team in, and they might. So I'm going to say whoever wins the Oregon-Washington game is my next team in there. The problem is they have to kind of hold up and maybe drop one game along the way and then win the Pac-12 championship game to stay in because of how good the rest of the Pac-12 is. So that's how I see that. In terms of the Big 12, I would already have Texas circled in the Big 12 title game, presuming we get a Texas-Oklahoma rematch. I still think Texas is the overall better team. That might have been a strong spot for Oklahoma, but I think Texas is the overall better team. So you give me a rematch between the two, I'll go that way.
Jump to the Big 10. Michigan, Harbaugh's best team, Team Khaki, just dismantling, walking through people. The 2 and 3 team, or the 1B, 1C team, thoughts? I don't think Penn State's getting enough credit right now. And I know Ohio State, Marvin Harrison Jr., they're going to have an opportunity. They play Penn State. They play Michigan. What's your thought between Ohio State and Penn State?
I think Penn State's probably better than Ohio State, and I think Michigan is better than both of them. I wish I had that Penn State plus 10.5 at Ohio State from earlier in the year. I think it's down to 5.5 if you're finding look aheads. That's going to be a tough game, and Penn State will have a chance. So, and Penn State gets Michigan at home. They're a 3-point dog in that game. So if Penn State wins both of those games, they're in. I think that Michigan is going to beat Ohio State pretty good in that season finale at home. The question is, if they lose that game at Penn State and Penn State can win both, then they're in. It's a super competitive conference. I have Michigan from preseason at plus 210. I'm going to stick with Michigan because I think they're the best overall team. But again, we're going to be splitting hairs here because these teams are probably just going to beat everybody else. And then it depends what the combination of those games between those three teams winds up landing on. So Michigan is the better of the teams, and I think Penn State is too. But Michigan having to play Penn State on the road gives a path to Penn State here. So that's kind of how I see these teams ranked in my mind. But Michigan being the better team doesn't automatically put them there. I hope they get there, but they have to play in my eyes, the next best team on the road, and that might be enough to knock them out of it. And you see whatever, a 12-0 Penn State team get in over an 11-1 Michigan team.
How's your futures and portfolio looking right now as we stand in college?
Pretty good. LSU is shaky. I need LSU to win out to have any kind of hope. I needed them to get that Ole Miss game. They couldn't get a stop for me, so that's the negative one. But otherwise, I got Alabama under the 10.5 and to miss the college football playoff. I need them to slip up somewhere again along the way. I was kind of hoping it would be A&M, but it wasn't. I still think Alabama will. Washington over 9 wins. They're not going 8-4. That's either going to push or win. So that's my strongest one right there. Notre Dame under 9. That's going to push or win, I would think. I don't think they're going to win out, although I like them over USC this weekend. And what's the other team I have in futures is Clemson. So just light those on fire. That was dumb. I'm never investing in Dabo again. He is the Belichick of college football right now, and just kind of falling apart from what he once was.
Taking a look at this week's sport in college football, what do you like? What are your leans? What are your plays for the weekend?
So I gave you Washington. I gave you Notre Dame. I thought I would be on USC in this spot preseason and for much of the year, but now that it's here, I can't. Notre Dame coming off the loss. Notre Dame coming off the Ohio State loss that they should have won. Kind of owe it to the home crowd here to finish a game. Chilly, windy, rainy potentially on Saturday night. You're not going to stop Caleb Williams, but he's going to be facing his best defense yet on the road on Saturday night in some conditions that should slow them. And then the USC defense is just abysmal. So I trust Notre Dame to score. I like Notre Dame in this game. The other ones, I like Oregon State. I generally back Oregon State at home. They've been pretty machine-like outside of a narrow loss on the road to Washington State. Now they get UCLA coming in, riding high off a home win, unranked, favored over Washington State. But these games, like we saw Utah go to Oregon State on a Friday night and not do anything on offense. Yet another freshman quarterback coming in here. I like Oregon State a lot to hold things down at home. And then what else do we have here? Smaller play on Kentucky money line. Coming off the Georgia loss. But I think Kentucky's pretty good. And Missouri is pretty good too. We haven't seen them do anything on the road. They've played 5 home games, and their road game was Vandy. So I'm going to make Missouri prove to me that they can do something on the road here in SEC play. And last one is going to be South Carolina money line over Florida. I played Kentucky money line over Florida a couple weeks ago. That one was a blowout. Florida's just not the same team away from the swamp. Gone away for 2 tough road games, Utah and Kentucky. They've lost by a combined 32 points. So they take care of business at home, but we've seen nothing from this Florida team on the road. So South Carolina also have a bye. South Carolina got beat bad at the Swamp last year. A lot of reasons to like the Gamecocks this weekend in my mind.
All right, we'll change gears. NFL this week. Tonight, Denver and Kansas City. I'm seeing 11 in a few spots. Taylor Swift will be in the crowd, which maybe that will help and maybe push Travis Kelce, who we're not sure is going to play. Patrick Mahomes just next man up. Kind of comical. Every first quarter, 8 for 9, 9 for 10, 7 or 8 different players catching at least one ball. Pacheco starting to find his rhythm there. Denver, just abysmal. If it wasn't for that big second half in Chicago, would be winless. Thoughts on tonight's game, Jules?
Yeah, I mean, tough spot for the Broncos. I don't see them winning this game. So, if you're building same game parlays or if you're building the parlay out, like Chiefs money line is safe. I know it sounds stupid to be like put Chiefs money line in because they're such big favorites. But like how you do this is let's say you're going to bet. So I'm high on Isaiah Pacheco tonight. I put him out in my article over 71.5 rushing yards because Denver is by a mile the worst run defense in the NFL, giving up over 250 a game on the ground over the last 3 games. So I bet him over 71.5 rushing yards. He's up to 74.5. I would still play it then. But if you're going to play Pacheco rushing yards over or Pacheco like anytime touchdown scorer, I think is like minus 130 range. Like we're always running a same game parlay boost on DK Sportsbook. So if you take that bet that you're going to play at minus 130 or whatever, add Kansas City money line to it. Now you're around even money, but now you have a same game parlay. So now you boost it. I don't know what our boost is tonight, 25, 30, 50%, whatever it is. Let's say it's 30%. Now your even money is now a plus 130 because you've added Kansas City money line. So that's kind of how I'm thinking of it. That's a way to kind of take advantage of the boost. Same game parlay boost. I don't want to do a same game parlay. I want to do a straight bet. If you add a Kansas City money line to like a prop that you like tonight and then boost it, now you're looking at a good number.
Any leans on Sunday for the NFL?
Yes, 2 on Sunday, 1 on Monday. I did play the Colts plus 4.5. I think this is a unheard of spot for the Jags. Generally, you play a game in London. Sometimes you come back and have a bye. That's your choice. This team just went on a 2-game road trip to London, won and covered them both, and now comes home and plays a home game as a division home favorite. Trevor Lawrence is 0-5 against the spread in his career as a home favorite. So I like the Colts. And then again, they got to look ahead as well. I don't know how they got scheduled this. They play the Thursday night game after this Sunday against New Orleans. So it's just it's all spot, no on-field analysis. I don't mind the Colts there. Niners, I've been playing look-ahead lines on the Niners every week. I had 3 against Dallas. I have 3 against Cleveland. I bought more at 4.5. I don't care that it's 6.5 now. I'll lay it with the Niners. I don't care about bad spots with this team. They are a buzzsaw, and they're going to get either Deshaun Watson with no shoulder or P.J. Walker, it sounds like. We saw how Cleveland moved the ball against Baltimore. There was nothing. So I'll lay anything under a touchdown, honestly, with the Niners. And feel pretty good about it given where we're at. And then I will take a bounce back spot in Dallas on Monday Night Football, 130 money line. 2 teams that like to pass. They're okay running the ball, but 2 teams that like to pass. And we've got the second best pass defense in Dallas and the 32nd ranked pass defense in the Chargers. So big edge to the Dallas passing game for me. Bounce back spot off the embarrassing primetime loss. I don't care about the Chargers bye. I think having a bye this early in the season is not as helpful. You use it late in the season to rest up, get back on track. This is a little early. Teams are trying to build momentum, so that doesn't do much for me. And yes, it's in LA, but we know it'll be a Dallas crowd in that building. So I like the Cowboys.
As we usually wrap up here, Jules, I'm high above courtside for the Celtics as they're playing their preseason. Bruins opened up at home last night. 3-1 empty netter for everyone that had the puck line. Connor Bedard did get his first goal. But the Celtics, what have you seen? What do you like so far in preseason?
Yeah, they look good. The game where they played everybody in the opener at home took them a little bit to get going, but ultimately looked good. I'll say the same thing all year. I think I've been consistent with you every year on the Celtics with whatever my take is, and you ask me for an update every week, and I say it's generally the same, and it's probably going to be generally the same all year this year. If they have their top six healthy, of Holiday, White, Brown, Tatum, Porzingis, Horford in May and June, they should win it, and I would favor them over the Bucks. If they have injury issues, then they're going to have big problems. But from what I've watched of the preseason, when a lot of those top guys aren't playing, I think their depth could be a little bit better than we expect. Pritchard's going to be in the rotation with Brogdon gone, and he looks fantastic, ready to go. Happy about that new extension. Some of the other wings look capable to fill some backup minutes. And then the big question is, how are we going to fill minutes behind Horford and Porzingis? And everyone knows about Cornet, but Quadas, the big guy from the Kings, he looks very good. He looked good last night. I've seen him in person play some summer league games in Vegas where he looked like the best player on the floor. I like him. I think he's a capable piece and provides young athleticism around the rim. And so does Wendon Gabriel, who's bounced around the league and played some at Kentucky and played in high school locally. So I think those two guys are going to be able to fill some unexpected minutes, particularly during the regular season. We're talking very minimal playoff minutes, but you got to fill regular season minutes with guys like Porzingis and Horford, and I think those guys are going to be capable of doing it.
I was asked last night, Jules, and you're more the NBA expert than myself. I was asked on the Beantown rundown some long shots, some sleepers, however you want to coin this in the NBA. What would you do? And of course, I'm not going to run to the window and bet Milwaukee, the Celtics, out west. You got Phoenix, you got Denver, you got the Lakers. They're going to tie up your money for 6-7 months, however long it is, till the middle of June. Give us a dark horse in the East and a dark horse in the West.
Oh man, a dark horse. I'll preface this by saying I don't know if I necessarily believe in whoever I give you here, because we got some dark horses last year. I would say two dark horses. Everybody had like the Lakers or the Warriors or the Suns in the West, and the Nuggets break through, even though it sounds weird now with the Nuggets being considered one of the favorites. But that was a dark horse. And then Miami was obviously as dark a horse as you can get sneaking through. So, I think it's going to be chalk in the East. I think we're going to get a Bucks Celtics Eastern Conference final. And then, we'll see who gets through. But just to play the game, I guess, let me pull up the odds board here. It's tough to it's Bucks and Celtics, and then it's Sixers plus 750, Cavs plus 1,000, and I think the Cavs take a step back this year. Heat are 11-1. Are the Heat a dark horse? They just got through. Knicks 18-1. I can't go there. And then we're talking like Hawks, Nets. So I guess you're forcing me to go Philly plus 750, which by odds is kind of a dark horse to win the conference, but they're sitting there at third. So I'll go there, but I really think we'll see Boston, Milwaukee. On the other side, I will say I don't think Denver wins the West again, and they're a plus 260 favorite. I think they're getting a lot of hype now, and deservedly so. They have all that talent, but number one, we're forgetting, Murray and Porter Jr., who were huge for them down that stretch, are very injury prone. Now they just played a ton of extra games. Are they going to be healthy all year? And then Jokic doesn't even seem to like the fact that they played all year to win his championship. He's frustrated he had to play 2.5 more months and couldn't go play with his horses. So is he going to burn out? Is he going to be able to do that whole run again? I don't trust the Lakers enough as much as I love LeBron. They're very beatable. I definitely don't trust the Clippers or the Mavericks. The Grizzlies or Pelicans would both count as a very dark horse, and I don't trust either of them. But 13-1 Grizzlies, 25-1 Pelicans in the West. I guess I got to go with one of those. But I think we might be on track for like a Suns Warriors Western Conference Final, who are 2-3 in the odds, and it might be a little chalky there as well.
It's funny you brought up the Pelicans because that's where I said to him out west. I mean, remember the start of the season when Zion was healthy and how well
they were the one seed in January. I took their over last year and their alternate win total last year, and they got hurt and burned out. So, again, Zion's in great shape again. He lost some weight this offseason, but is he going to be healthy in the playoffs? We've never seen that.
Well, the scroll has been going the whole time. Everyone watching and listening, thank you. Shout out to Mr. Sailor this morning. Go follow Jules at Julian Edlow at DraftKings Sportsbook. Make sure you go listen to his podcast at Unreasonable Odds Podcast. Give them a reason why to download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, and tell them where they can find you this weekend, Jules.
Yep. So we will have an Unreasonable Odds podcast coming out today. A lot of NFL and college football in that. Watch the new weekend show. We've been at it for like a month and a half now. It's called The Sweat. It's 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern on Saturday and Sunday. It is on Samsung TV. It is on VSiN, on YouTube. It's on Twitch. It's on Twitter. You can follow me or DraftKings Network on Twitter. It'll pop up at 8 a.m. on Saturdays and Sundays. So make sure you check that out. 50% profit boost tonight. It doesn't even have to be a same game parlay. I lied to you earlier. 50% profit boost, whatever you want to bet tonight. Broncos, Chiefs. Don't let these go to waste. 25% profit boost if you're betting anything in MLB today. And it doesn't have to be Phillies, Braves, I think. If you like something for like game one of Rangers, Astros, you can use today's boost towards that. You can use today's boost towards a World Series winner, whatever you want. So we got that up there. We have a 50% profit boost on Oregon and Washington. So if you like Washington like I do, that gets them plus money on the money line. Silly not to do that. If you like Oregon, go ahead, boost up +3 to plus money. That looks like what we got going on right now. But again, those are silly not to use.
As always, Julian, can't thank you enough. Really, really enjoy our Thursday show here. Have a great, great day, a great, great night. Enjoy your weekend, and I will catch your show on Saturday and Sunday, my brother.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Jeff.
All right, take care. The one and only Julian Edlow at DraftKings Sportsbook. If you guys, especially locally, I know everyone here locally must have that app downloaded by now. Always offering great promos, profit boosts, same game parlays. Go follow Julian at Julian Edlow. Catch all his work on DraftKings Sportsbook. And again, catch him on The Sweat on Saturday and Sunday at 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. For myself, later today, 1 o'clock, I'll be a guest on Prime Wave Media at Pop DiBiase. We'll be talking sports. At 3 o'clock, I'll also be a guest with Andrew McGinnis at Wager Talk, talking some NHL and some NFL and whatever else we have. And at 5 o'clock, myself and Riley will be back for the closing bell. Shout out to our staff behind the glass again, Mr. Joseph Shea, Mr. Evan Lewis, Mr. Olu, Mr. Bennett, and of course, Cade Horton, and of course, our new partner and sponsor, WagerWire. Go to wherever you download apps, please. Download the WagerWire app. It's free. Sync all your bets. Keep track of your ROI. Some great bonuses there from a bunch of sports books that they have partnered up with. And if you're looking to make a little extra cash, go to affiliate at wagerwire.com. Tell them JD at ECSI sent you. They'll take good care of you. So for myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, from our guest and good friend and colleague, the one and only Julian Edlow at DraftKings Sportsbooks. Wish everyone a great morning. Have some fun. We'll see you later this